Traci Harrell. Oh my God, I am so excited about today's show. So we have with us Dr. Marcia Arunga. Oh my God,
Hi,
how are you?
Tracy. I'm good. How are you?
I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. And literally, what excites me about you is that we were talking yesterday about this theme that we're leading for this year. The entire year, we're going to be focusing on achieving your best, most successful, and powerful year yet.
Yes.
And what I love about that is you've led a life. Like every day, you're very intentional, like you about living your best life. And so I'm excited to get right into it. So would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you and why is this idea of being, intentional in life? Why has that been so important to you?
Okay. Thank you, Tracy. I am Dr. Marcia Taterunga,
Oh,
and I am currently the Dean of Evergreen State College, Tacoma campus. So that by itself is just a wonderful environment established by African American woman, Dr. Maxine Mims, still a leader in our community at age 94. So I really feel very proud to continue in that legacy. But I think also if we're talking about powerful lives and living your fullest lives, we're talking about being ready for constant, steady transformation. And I think that we need to be ready for that. You know what they say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I believe we just have to be ready. Um, and just excited. Born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, and I am a mother, family matriarch. I am educator, an author, and an artist. How's that?
amazing. And just begins to scrape the surface of just how amazing you are. So yes, thank you. Thank you for everything. We're going to talk about some of the topics you just mentioned. So you mentioned this idea of transformation. That's my other passion area
Uh-huh.
for the year. As I mentioned, this idea of transformation is critical because as human beings, we were talking yesterday and you mentioned this concept that your school, that Evergreen State College, is that's one of the themes for your college. Let's talk about that and why that's so important.
That's right. We are theme based driven. So all of our curriculum is based on a theme every year. So this year, our theme is transformational literacies. And in doing transformational literacies, we begin to look at all aspects of our lives, aspects of society, aspects on a global level. What are we doing to transform? When are we ready? You see, I look at transformation as moments of getting ready. So, for example, right now, Tracy, we're in the middle of fog. And in this time of fog for the next few days, we are called to go inward and figure out what kind of transformations we need to take place there. And at Evergreen, we are constantly looking at this. So because we're an interdisciplinary program, we're looking at it from a environmental perspective, we're looking at it from a sociological perspective. We're looking at it from the perspective of biology, of lifespan, and the like. So, and the art world. So, all of those are constantly transforming, and so exciting to be engaged in that right now.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. Now, you said something that I love about. First of all, I love everything about you. This is the first of many conversations because we only have an hour today. So, what
Okay.
we want people to get out of this today is, we people really do have the ability, the capability to live the life of their dreams, to live their best, most successful, powerful year yet. Not ever, but
Mm.
yet. right? To exceed their own expectations. And so when we were talking about transformations, you talked about that individual transformations, but also
Mhm.
transforming our communities. And I heard you just talk
So,
about going inward, that importance of actually really transforming, really checking in with yourself. You talked about checking in with our ancestors. A lot of people don't even understand what it means to like take a moment, get, step off of the track that you may have been on and just
mhm.
pause to go in.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about why that is so important to achieve your best life, to truly transform.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think one thing that humbles me is how we are part of nature. And I think if we stay there for a moment, we begin to understand that we are only a part of this bigger system that exists in the world, the environment. And we're not here really to take over or control it. We are here to participate in it. So when I think about our role and our lives and how we can make the most out of our lives, and I talk about going inward, I'm really talking about thinking about what is the best part of us we can bring out on a daily basis. And we are, I'm a sociologist, so there's something called the looking glass self. And this is an old theory, Charles Cooley, and it goes back to the idea that we are who we are because of other people. And the way other people look at us, see us, perceive us, is how we shape our identity. And so we rely as human beings on other people. And Tracy, when we're doing that and we're in environments where we are totally affirmed, we are living our best lives. And
Mm.
unfortunately, we live in a society where it's just not that simple. We have lots of distractions, we have lots of negative energy that's constantly coming toward us. And so it's really important that we understand who we are internally. What are our gifts? What are our talents that we have to give to other people? And how do we best connect those talents with our communities and in a global sense? And when we start to do it that way, then we're able to really live our fullest potential.
I love you. I love you so much. The wisdom that oozes from you as this natural state. So you spent time in. I mean, you're an educator. You're dean of Everett State College,
Evergreen State,
Tacoma.
yeah.
Evergreen. Thank you. Evergreen State College. Thank you for keep me straight. And it's Marcia, not Marcia. Thank you very much. Uh,
Yes.
it's spelled Marcia, Marcia Arunga. Thank you. Um, Dr. Arunga, what I just heard you say was you talked about how we do rely on others, the importance of going within, connecting with yourself, but also understanding that connection with community. For someone who
Mhm.
is totally new to this concept of living your true best life, because you and I were talking yesterday about people oftentimes follow the expectation of what success means in society, but not
Mhm.
necessarily finding that gift. I heard you just talk about the gifts that we all have. And I was telling you that I'm like literally living my best life right now because I'm doing all the things that I've done have led me to this moment and this opportunity to help people to be successful, to be their most powerful, and to live their best life. So, what would you say
Mhm.
to your I'll just go back to 18 or 21-year-old self. Like, what is that one lesson learned that you will go back? If I gave you 60 seconds to talk to 18-year-old Marsha Arunga, what would you say to her? What would that be that lesson learned around living your best life? Anything
Mhm.
you would share?
Well, it's so cliche of what we've heard all of our lives that if you really put your mind to it, you can virtually do anything. um, or that you can do anything you put your mind to. And it's so cliche. People say it to you. I think at different ages you can hear it. And when we look at the potential of human development, and we understand that at 18 you may hear it in a different kind of way.
Right.
And at 35 you're hearing it and you might be really at the top of what it is you're trying to achieve, and you know that that is the fuel that drives you. At 50, you're thinking a little bit differently. You might be thinking about how you are going to make some legacy. So what do I put my mind to might be about what am I going to grow and leave in this world or in my career. And then, of course, the elders are looking at, you know, at it in a totally different way, more in a maybe satisfactorily looking in the past and looking in the future in a totally different dynamic that we don't even understand. When you know you are not necessarily going to be there, but you are thinking and wishing and praying for the best for the future. So we have different roles at different times. And, you know, I should have warned you about that when you asked that question.
That's
So,
great. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, and yes. I love it.
Yes, I believe that yes, when we're trying to be our best selves, we put a different kind of energy each time. I also want to say that we operate in a cycle. You know, when I talk about us as part of nature and part of the environment, it's all about cycles. Now, for us as human beings, I believe that when we engage with other human beings and we are living our fullest human potential in doing that, that there comes a time where we're going full circle. You know, for African Americans, which I have studied in my human development background after living in Africa and now taking women to Africa and starting to look at life cycles and the importance of those cycles, and how when we are living at our best selves, when we are giving our best selves in our lives, we're not just going from cycle to cycle, we actually elevate at every cycle. And so it's more like a spiral. By the time we reach a maturity, there's more we have to offer, and a very deep knowledge and wisdom, as you say, Traci, that we have to offer. I think about that because one of the grandfathers of human development, Eric Erickson, he used to talk about elderly life at 60 years old. Well, we know now that we live well beyond 60 years old. The lifespan can go now well into the 90s and sometimes even reaching 100. And even the way that we are learning, we don't stop learning just because we have reached 60. We have the potential to to learn at all times. And that comes from the stimulus we get from other human beings. And so I think what's most important is what we're putting out, the
Yes.
energy we put out, and the energy that we receive, and that we understand there is an ancestral realm, and that's a true
Yes.
existence that has created who we are today.
Yes, I love that. I love it so much. I'm excited because literally you just mentioned that we I love you. We can do anything. We have the power, and that means different things at different ages. And so the book that I'm one of the books that I'm writing right now is, I call it the book that I wish I had when I was 16. Those lessons learned, those things that are less critical, that I call them those the ageless wisdom, right?
Mm.
The things that we know from our ancestors, but also things that have been written down and passed around generation to generation, but also culture to culture. There are certain things about living your best life, finding your gift, tapping into those things that you love to do, the things that you do well, the
Mhm.
contribution that you can make, and not feeling like you have to be stuck, to whatever pathway that someone else has given you, right? That someone said, this is what success means. And to your point, I grew up relatively poor. So spending 25 years in corporate America for me was my definition of success, right? I could say I was successful in corporate
Absolutely.
America, right? But I haven't known success until I left corporate America. Right? I mean, that's true success when you're able to do the things that you did. And it was amazing. I got no complaints. I'm grateful for everything I learned. But it's now that I'm able to take all of those learnings and all those experiences and really contribute and give back and leave a legacy for my community. And I was doing little things along the way. I was definitely contributing to my community as part of National Black MBA Association, and I was doing things. But right now, there's there's just a calm and a comfort and a peace when you could just settle into, like you said, what was I meant to do? What gifts
Yeah.
was I given, and how can I most significantly contribute to others? That's really what
Well,
we want,
I
right?
really don't want to make light of a career like yours, one that goes straight into corporate America. There are some things you've been able to master there that is really amazing. I think that we have many routes. And it may come from class. You talk about growing up poor. I did not grow up poor, but I don't think that matters.
Right.
Here's what I think. We have an opportunity to live our best life, and you have done that, just like I have done that. We've just done it differently.
Yes.
When I was young, I fell in love and met a man who lived in Kenya, East Africa. Very important to me as I grew up, that idea of Africa, being an African American, and what is that?
Mm,
That was the search, or the discovery, let me put it that way, that I
yes.
was on. And as a scholar, I was able to lean into that by living there. I think being a sociologist really prepared me to live in Africa. Loving African Americans, coming from a family where there were many different skin colors,
Mm,
helped me to connect with people in Africa, in Kenya, where I lived. And also being um, involved in, as you say, help as a helper. I grew up as a community helper.
mm.
In church and the community centers, children's free breakfast program. That's my history. The sickle
Mhm.
cell anemia program. I got to poke the fingers of the children and
I love
determine
it.
sickle cell anemia. And these are the things that drove my career. So when I went to live in Kenya and build my family, grow my family there, I was able to take in a lot of what I saw. And what I
Mm,
saw was a different value system of living. Okay, it didn't exist here. There's two things I want to talk about that I saw. One was the value system of slowing down and being able to interact with human beings and really appreciate this relationship. So I will say Africans are relational people, and it reminded me of who I am and who my people are. Because, we are the people who stand on street corners and gather in groups. We are the people who love to have parties and lots of people and shout at the top of our lungs. We are people who are creative and can put two things together and create something brand new. That's who we are. The second thing I learned in my lifetime of living in Kenya and being so adored, over a decade, I lived there. Coming back to the United States is where I really understood what racism was. I knew about it as I was growing up.
uh-oh. I think she froze for a second. Is that right, Nathan? Did I freeze or did she freeze? She froze.
The
Okay.
life of an African American. They wanted, Michael Jackson. Oh, tell us more about, tell us about your food. Tell us about who you are. We've seen, your athletes. They adored us, and I think that does so much for the self-esteem. When I came back to the United States, it was such a stark contrast. Coming back in the '90s and watching um, the interaction between race, particularly white and black, but all races interacting with each other, and seeing how people perceived African Americans, the assumptions that they made, and the kind of boxes that people operated in was totally foreign to me after living 10 years in Kenya, in East Africa, where I had this such amazing um, experience with what I'll say, my self esteem was so affirmed in the African concept. And I think, it had to do with being a Negro. That's what they recognize. They recognize the Negro in me, and they knew there was a connection.
Mm,
Um, and so that is really what I think is the essence of life that I brought back. That one, I understand what it is to be fully affirmed as a human being. Two, that I understand what poison racism can bring to a society, and how it shifts us off of our true authentic selves.
you know what I love about that, and you and I are going to be doing some great work. I can already see this. This is the beginning of some great things, because what I just heard you say is this understanding of what it means to be fully affirmed. There are people who have no idea what that means, or that they have within them to affirm themselves. You don't have to wait for society or the people that you work with or anyone in your family to affirm you. It's that
Yeah,
inner knowing that you are from divinity, that you are from
absolutely.
greatness. Let's talk about that. If you had to talk to a young person who's like, what is she talking about? What would you say to a young person to affirm them, an old person, anybody, an individual
Mhm.
who's like, first I need to know and for myself? What would you say?
Yeah,
I have some thoughts as a success coach, but I want to hear what you have culturally to to to
yeah,
to
culturally.
empower people to live their
Yeah,
best life.
to be affirmed is a precious thing. I almost think it's a birthright. And I really want parents to know that if we have no other responsibility, it is that one of affirming an infant from birth to at least age 7,
Mm,
to give them the idea that all that they are is wonderful and perfect. And I love families who do that. I've seen families who do that, and parents who just adore their children. Or I've seen cultures where you can see families just love family. I think there's an essence there. Now,
mm,
so that's where affirmation comes from. And even if you're adopted, affirmation comes from those early caretakers, those early uh, um, messages about who you are as a human being. Now, as an African American woman, there was a major discovery I made in the year 2000, the first time that I actually took women back to Kenya, East Africa. And since that time, I've taken over 75 women back to Kenya, East Africa, particularly from the Pacific Northwest, but different places. Um, on the first visit, I discovered a story, and I wrote this book based on that story. It's called The Stolen Ones and How They Were Missed. Okay,
mm.
the stolen ones and
That's
how they
beautiful.
were missed.
Yes, yes.
Now, this story came to me from an elder in Kenya. And my friend, who is so organized, she's a Capricorn. No, she's an Aquarius, even more organized. She had a photo album, and we were meeting with the first delegation of women. They came from all over Kenya. And this particular woman was an elder. We called her an elder. She was older than all of us. And she was just traveling from a place called Taita, which is close to the Indian Ocean. And when she arrived in Nairobi, she came to this home we were staying, a beautiful, beautiful home. I think might be on the Vimeo that I'm sharing with you, but we'll
Oh,
get to that in a moment.
would you like for us to share the video?
Let me tell
Just
this story, and then we can share the Vimeo.
perfect. He has it ready. Yes.
Even though the story is part of this, but and so I won't tell the whole story. But this elder, my friend is showing the photo album. So she says, "This is an African American church. This is an African American school. This is an African American club, and this is an African." And the elder said, "Wait a minute here. Now, you keep calling yourselves African American. Now, where from Africa do you come from?" Now, we couldn't answer that question. Now, I had done the research, but we couldn't answer the question. And, the DNA studies were just starting to come out at that
Mhm.
time. But what we said was that, our Africans were taken from all over the continent, not just from Nigeria, Ghana, like we are told, oh, you
Mhm.
come from Nigeria and Ghana, that's where you left. No, we found out that Africans came from all over the continent, were dragged to the coastlines
Mhm.
and taken away. So,
Yes.
we're telling this elder this, and she gets this epiphany, and she said, "Oh, you must be the stolen ones."
Oh.
And now ask her about her 16-year-old self, who did
Mm.
not understand that story all of her life
Wow.
until she met us. And we said, "The stolen ones, what are you talking about?" And that's when she told us the story about
Wow.
a girl who had gone missing in her village and just never came back home. Now, this might be a good time to show the Vimeo.
Let's do it, Nathan.
I grew up in a loving family in the Pacific Northwest in the strong African American community. After graduating from the University of Washington, I moved to Kenya, East Africa for over a decade with my Kenyan-born college sweetheart. Gave birth to 4 children and was immersed in a loving, family-centered community. This nurturing foundation provided strong identity and pride that fortified my family. After relocating to the U.S., people always asked me about the impact that Africa had on my life and that of my family. To answer that, I took 7 African American women to experience it firsthand. My Kenyan sisters and I planned an itinerary grounded in women's activism and a family-centered community that I had come to know. On our first visit, a luncheon was held in our honor, and many Kenyan women came to meet us. I remember a conversation we held with an elder. She asked about where in Africa we came from. We were not sure because the details of our exit were unclear. Then she got an epiphany and declared, "Oh, you must be the stolen ones." As a young child, she was told about people who had mysteriously gone missing. Search parties were sent, but they were never to be found. Ships had come and taken them away. Their loss was devastating. After she told the story, she said, "You are the stolen ones returning home. Welcome home." We never anticipated being remembered and received like this. This fact reshapes the personal and collective identities of African Americans who hear this story and realize that their ancestors were missed. Since then, I have led 9 delegations, 77 women, on cultural reconnections to our African homeland. We partner with our Kenyan sisters and their families in joint ventures and capacity building. I wrote a book, The Stolen Ones and How They Were Missed, for young children of African descent. I want them to know that their ancestors were missed. This builds a sense of belonging that will make their backs a little straighter and their self-esteem a little stronger. This is the story that connects my children to a proud heritage as productive, confident adults. I want every man, woman, child to understand not only were we missed, but we are welcome to reconnect with our homeland and the rich legacies of our ancestors.
Wow. We were missed and are welcome to return
Yeah,
home.
indeed.
I
Indeed.
love this. Look at these. Dr. Joy Hardiman was part of this. Isaiah Townsend. Wow. So this is how the cultural reconnection. Thank you for playing the whole video all the way through to the credits, Nathan.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, Nathan. Yes.
Dr. Arunga.
So
This is so
when you
beautiful.
ask about affirmation, that's the ultimate affirmation. African Americans live in this society never knowing that they were missed. you know
Yes.
like, get over it, you live here now, this is your home. But actually, there were people who remember, and there are stories that still need to be collected around our exit. And it's been a very
Mm,
beautiful, beautiful journey to be able to do that research and to write about not just the exit, but the return of African
mm.
Americans to the continent.
Thank you so much for writing that book. Thank you for the 9 caravans and cultural reconnections that you've made. Can I help you lead expedition number 10?
Hey, why not? Let's do it. It's time to keep it moving.
Let's do it. I'm in. Like I said, I will put money to it. I will put people to it. I will let's do it. Seriously.
Okay,
2022, what you got to do? I'm not leaving anything on the table. If a
that's
cultural
right.
reconnection to my community, that is definitely a missing piece. Someone told me when I was younger that I was the child of the creator of the universe. Now,
Mm,
there's something truly powerful about that, and that's been my North Star. But being an African
yeah.
American and doing the work of inclusion, a missing piece in my own personal development is reconnecting back to the motherland. I would love, love, love to do that. I kind of teared up a little bit when you said we never anticipated being remembered or
Yes.
received in such a beautiful way. That is powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely, Tracy. And I got to tell you, I had a chance to be in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, in 2006. We were taken to the space of the museum there to see Dinkanesh, which is the bones of our ancestor Lucy, 3.2 million years old. There's no human remains found older than that. So you
Mm,
are from the oldest creation of the world. And if our children walked around understanding that,
right.
who they would be, you know, that is the
Yeah.
best kept secret. I mean, if we understood uh, the the ancientness of our history, of who we are, that there were civilizations long before this one, that in fact we were taken out of Africa to build many civilizations, not
Mm,
not just the United
right.
States.
Right.
And
I love that.
look at the United States today, one of the most powerful nations in the world, and we still continue to hold that moral compass and that sense of doing right by the
Mm,
world.
yes.
We hold that light in this country, and I'm proud to be a Black woman who does that.
Yes, I agree. Now, I want to bring on another guest. Her name is Dr.
Oh,
Wynn,
okay.
Dr. Stephanie Wynn. You're going to love her. And I like that you're talking about being powerful. So go ahead and bring on Dr. Wynn if she's here. Hey, Dr. Wynn,
Hello.
were you able to hear
Hello.
what was going on?
I
Were you
was. I teared up a little bit. That
right?
was outstanding. Yes, absolutely. I love that. I love that. We have some international chapters on the African continent in my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta
Oh
Sorority
yeah,
Incorporated. And
absolutely.
oh, thank you. And their love and their support and the way that they speak is so very, very beautiful. It's so very inviting and uniting. So the differences between my African sisters and my African American sisters is one that has to come together. I think we're
Love it.
Oh,
such a
yeah.
powerful people. We're such a beautiful people, and to see that and to hear that, that was beautiful. From Kenya, is that what I heard? Kenyan?
That's right. Yes, Kenya. But
Beautiful.
I have to say we could have chosen anywhere in Africa to explore our own identity, and probably would have come with that kind of wealthy knowledge. But it was Kenya because I was married to a Kenyan, and I had spent over a decade there building relationships. So that was the ideal place to go.
I love that.
I
So
love
did
it.
you
That
hear that we're
story is
planning a
not
trip?
told very often. So I'm
Right.
so
Did you,
glad
Yeah,
that you're telling it.
right. Did
thank
you hear that
you.
we're
That
planning a
was
trip now? The tenth
I
annual,
heard, I heard that.
the tenth expert cultural
Absolutely.
reconnection.
I
Uh,
did hear that. The 10th. Yes, I
all
heard that.
in. I'm all
my
in.
daughters are there right now and have been on
Really?
many delegations. So they're there now looking at what the next delegation might look like. So I'm really hoping that it will continue. And I want the younger delegate, the younger people who have experienced it to pick up the baton now. Not that I will stop going. I'll always go. Dr. Mims has gone with us until she was 88, I think was her last visit.
I
So it's
love it.
not, we can do it.
Not only can we do it, we will do it. This is my commitment on national television, international television. It is happening. Period. In 2022. I'm adding it in. Y'all tell me what the right timeline is. It's happening
Okay.
in 2022. Period. End of story. And we have a Leaders of Tomorrow program that's part of the National Black MBA Association, and we will bring youth with us. Right. So we will bring some young
Oh,
people, yes, on that journey so that they can be young youth ambassadors to talk about the
yes.
adventure. So that is part of what we're going to do. Consider it a lock. I don't say anything. Anybody who knows me knows I got some issues, but getting stuff done is not one of them. I
Oh,
move
I
too
love
fast.
that.
That is not one of them. I would move too fast. You'd be like, Traci, I didn't know we were going to be going in July. Yep. You tell me when, and we go. You give me a date, and we're going to make it happen. That's my
Okay,
commitment.
let me just tell you now that
Yes.
March is the best time of year to go. It's
March.
the cheapest time of year, good weather. Schools are between session. We may go visit a school,
Should we do it? Should we plan it for March?
Yes, March is a good time. So not, of course, not in 6 weeks, but in a year from now.
Oh, March of the
2023 March.
following year.
Yep,
Listen, don't get me excited because
23.
I'll be done playing something in 6 weeks. You don't understand who you're dealing with. There's nothing to, like you said, we can do anything, but if you're saying we're gonna
We
plan
can do
something in a
anything we
year
want.
from now,
Yes, I'm talking to the doer, huh? I am talking to the doer.
you don't understand. I also have a partnership with the Black Education Strategy Roundtable, and part of their working with Steve Smith, Dr. Jim, like these James J.B. Smith, right? These individuals that are like geniuses, and part of what they want to do is connect with the youth. Part of the education and this obligation we have is with our youth. So being able to do something, figure something out. I'm not ruling out the end of March. I'm just saying. I'm gonna put that down there.
Dr. Wynn, are you in this area as well?
I am in Arizona.
Arizona.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I brought her on to talk about. So you were talking about, again, this initiative that I'm leading, this Bigger Than Me Success Series, focused on achieving our best, most successful and powerful year yet. This is a woman that I met, I don't know, what couple years ago now, maybe a year ago. I don't know what it's been, but
I don't
it's
know.
just sisters who are on a mission, and she's leading a conference. She's also leading a group of individuals for a conference. It's called Becoming Powerful Now. www.becomingpowerful.now. And there's an upcoming event that's like this. It's on the 30th, right?
Sunday. It's 7 days from now, like Sunday.
7 days
the
from
30th. Now. Yes. Becomingpowerfulnow.com is the website. And what that is, it's a woman's conference and networking. It is a power-packed day, full day, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Arizona. That's Mountain Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
and we are doing we're focusing on health, wealth, and relationships, so that we have the opportunity to speak with women. We talk with a lot of high achieving women. We help them to overcome the overwhelm. We're doing some things like we're introducing the Real Deal Men's Panel, where we have these high achieving men who are going to be on the panel, and they're going to be answering questions and talking to the women just as honest and raw as they would talk to their own daughters about relationships, honesty in the relationships, building, getting, and keeping the relationships from their perspective. Oftentimes I work with women who are powerful, who are upwardly mobile, and they feel that they are intimidating to men. Well, not these men. These men are the men that you're looking for. They always say, well, I can't find the man who, well, honey, they are going to tell you about them. They are going to be at this event. We're also introducing the Wise Wives Council. So we have some women on this council who have been married. We estimate about 80 years collectively, and they are going to be talking about relationships and how to have powerful marriages. I have one woman who went from an abusive marriage and got out of it, and then was able to overcome and get into a better situation. She calls it, I've had bad, better. No, she said, I've had bad and now I'm in better. That's how she calls it. And I've seen her husband. He's awesome and he dotes on her. They have a wonderful relationship and they've been married for 20 years. So I'm looking forward to that. We have a doctor who's coming on, and he let me not use the word cure. He overcame a debilitating, incurable disease, and he now functions as a chiropractic doctor, having had a disease that they told him and have been telling people that there was no cure for. So I'm going to speak. I am a relationship coach myself. And so we are going to have some awesome, awesome people. We're talking about building your monies. I mean, women, we are so for everyone else. So this is for us. This is going to be the thing for us. And this is the first time we've ever done this in Phoenix, Arizona. So it's in Glendale, which is the West Valley of Phoenix. We're going to have ladies of the Arizona West Valley Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta going to be there. We're going to have people coming from Georgia, from California, from Tennessee. We're going to have the Black Globe International Queens. There is a pageant that focuses on Black women from across the globe. And these women are going, now, these are the grown and sexy women. You have to be at least 18 and better. So we have a Miss, Ms., and Mrs. division, and they're going to be there as well hosting the event. So we're looking forward to it. So when you talked about welcoming us back, that was right toward my heart. That was beautiful and wonderful. And I love for us to feel welcome. I love for us to experience that unity, that connection from Africa to Phoenix, Arizona. So there's the website, Becoming Powerful. Now absolutely look forward to hearing from and seeing women in there and really helping to get this year going great. You know, Traci have us in on the African continent in a couple of weeks. So don't give us a year, Traci. Give us a year.
You think so? So listen, Dr. Arunga, we might as well finish this conversation. Is it unreasonable to plan a trip to Africa in 6 weeks?
In 6 weeks,
by the end of March.
It's definitely possible. I even know of a few people who want to go, but I want it to be done. I want it to be done. You know, first of all, let me say this. If there was a group going that you plan, I want to make sure that the women that they're meeting on the other side, because you see, we're doing relationship building.
Yes.
This is not going, we go on a safari, we have a good time, but we are building relationships with women there who are doing exactly what you're doing. Now, so I want to make sure that's done in a thoughtful and
Yes.
methodical way. All
Yes.
right. And so I would say I feel more comfortable saying March of 2023. And to my Delta would-be sister, I never actually pledged any sorority. If I did, it would have been Delta, because my
Smart
sister
woman.
my sister is a Delta. My
Oh.
my cousin who recently passed away, I want to call her name, Lynette Jackson Tate, who was
Mm.
a Delta. And I want to say, the service that is just, that just encompasses everything you do. If you had a group, for example, that went to Kenya, and I would make sure that you are meeting your professional counterparts, and
Yes.
that way when you come back, you're really changed, not just as a human being, but even in your field and in your communities, and in your families. This is where we learn to take, funerals seriously, to take
Right.
um, childbirth seriously, careers, any rite of passage. We
Right.
learn to really take that. And if anyone can emblemize that, that is the Delta Sigma Theta. So
Right.
I'm honored to be on the screen with I think you're both Deltas, aren't you?
I am not, but to your point, if
You're
I
not.
were to pledge, it would be Delta. Someone actually just
We're
said
all
something
would
about.
be Deltas.
Yeah, so someone just actually said, Wendy R. Moore said, "Oh, I know the past president in Seattle. You should pledge now." And I'm like, I'm kind of old to be pledging. She's like, "Oh no, no." So I'm just
No.
saying, it's never too late, Dr. Arunga. I'm putting it out there into the
Yeah,
universe.
even my
Right.
cousin Lynette, even my cousin pledged in her adult life after she
Right.
had
We are from the alumni chapters. So as
Aha.
alumni chapter members, after you graduate, that's when you're allowed in the alumni chapters. Yes. Mhm.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I'm
So
putting that out there. And
yes,
and
we have
and
a
the other thing I
mission
was
in front of
gonna
us.
say is the National Black MBA Association has sent two um I won't call them caravans, but two groups over to Africa as well. I think they went to Ghana.
Yes.
And we actually have someone who's part of my board who actually currently is still living there. He's trying to, on the next few months, I think he's going to be coming back, but he's been there for about 5 or 6 years. And so we do have connections there through the National Black MBA Association as well. I think they had, all kind of things at the embassy, and they were, all in. So I agree. So March of 2023, it's on. It's on, and I'm
Awesome.
excited. If anyone's interested in joining us or funding us, Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. It's on. You heard it here first.
Beautiful.
I love, and we will be
Ghana,
bringing youth. Yeah.
Ghana is the place where many people have gone, and Ghana has made a big effort to invite African Americans to return to Ghana. And actually, they are in the process. They haven't succeeded yet, but they're in the process of giving dual citizenship
Yes, they are doing
to
that now.
African Americans. So that is a very special place. They call it the Joseph Project, named after Joseph in the Bible, whose brothers had sent him away, and he came back as a royal king. And so
Mhm.
that is the concept behind the Joseph Project. But Kenya is. We say that Kenya doesn't have that kind of history, but actually, there is a history of the transatlantic slave trade all the way as far on the other side of the ocean. That's the Indian Ocean, by the way, that we're talking about. And there are ships that have known to have gone on that side as well. There is a place called Shimune. It's sung about, one of the cowboy singers sings about it. But Shimune is a place it's an island just off of Kenya where ships used to come and collect people. It was easier to collect them in the island than to collect them on the mainland. So, but this is a celebration. We have cultural amnesia in both Africa and in America about our past. It's not one. It's one that we have to remember. To piece back together. But
I love
it's possible.
I
I
love that.
love that you pointed out that there were so many other countries built by the African slaves. So people only think it's an American thing. It is not. The UK brought all of the British um, colonies.
Yes.
They stopped their slavery years before, or I should say, they outlawed their slavery years before we did here in America. But there are many countries, the French colonies, the um, Portuguese, it was so many that actually built their countries because of the work of the African slaves. So I just want to put that out there just in case someone didn't know that.
I love it. Information is power. I love that. Can you guys believe that this has been an hour of just beautiful conversations? We have 5 minutes before Nathan's going to tell us that the next show is starting. So, in our last 5 minutes, ladies, let's just recap a little bit or share any final words that we want with individuals around empowerment. Again, this show is about living your best life. We say 2022 is the year, is your best life. So living your best, most successful and powerful year yet. So you guys, can you help me end with any final words of wisdom, sharings with our listening audience, those who are going to watch this later? What would you share with them about what they can do to live their most powerful, successful year yet? What actions can they take on a daily basis? Because as a sex coach, what I do know is it's not in the saying what you're going to do, it's in the doing what you're going to do, right? It's in the taking action. And so I've committed to bringing myself live on Facebook 3 times a week starting next week to work out, to do like a live workout. Period.
Beautiful.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hadn't put a date on it, I hadn't put a time on it, and it didn't happen over the last couple of weeks. So I'm like, I'm putting a date and a time on it now. I'll be on at, I think, 6 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just live on Facebook working out. I'll be reading some books and, providing some insight, but that's my commitment to living my best life. This year, I'm going to release, get rid of about 50 pounds. And so that's going to be in the doing. So, ladies, and again, I'm also going to help people. I'm going to continue to do this show. I'm going to continue to bring on voices like yours. What would you advise people to do for whatever their dream is, their resolution is, their goal is for 2022? I'm going to start with you, Dr. Wynn. Give us 1 minute, 2 minutes at the most, and then I'll go to Dr. Arunga to close us out.
Absolutely. I would recommend, ladies, that we learn to see ourselves, learn to find in us our strengths, our challenges, and to begin to pay attention. Pay attention to what we need, pay attention to where we are and where we are going. Develop that for ourselves. So often we give and give and give, and then we are depleted and do not understand why. Take the time, hire someone for you, get a coach, join Traci and work out. Come to the conference. Becoming powerful now is what I want you to do for this year, ladies, especially those of us who are high achieving and are always going and moving. It is time to find yourself. As Mary J. Blige news song says, you are gorgeous. And I am Dr. Wynn. And as a licensed professional counselor and relationship coach, I do diagnoses on a regular basis, and I diagnose you as a winner. I'm Dr. Wynn at Dr. Wynn Global. I commit to a new YouTube channel that will start tomorrow.
All right, now you heard it here. You heard it here.
Wow.
You love it. So listen, that's the other thing I am doing, Dr. Wynn. So she knows. What we're saying is, what can we do for others, and what are we going to do as well? Putting ourselves out there too, because we can be good at certain things. We want to demonstrate that, hey, we're also on a journey. So can you share words of wisdom for others, and what is one thing you're going to do besides leading out, helping us to get coordinated for 2023? You can add that to your list. Dr. Arunga, what you got to share?
Okay. Well, let me just say, thinking about how we can empower, education, there's nothing better than education. That is the next step. Anytime you're in confusion about how to move forward, get in school, go get that education. It doesn't matter how many degrees, how many classes you're taking. And I say that not just because I'm a dean of a college and we are always looking for students, but I say it because I know that the education is power, and not just any education, the education that you are guided to take because of your skills, your talents that you're trying to hone in on, and not somebody else what other people are telling you. No, what you are trying to lean into. So I just want to stay with that concept that we can do, human beings are so powerful. We can do anything we put our mind to. I'm so inspired to be here today with Traci and Dr. Wynn. I just want to say my goal is to stay powerful with some powerful Black women on the regular.
All right. Well, you have an open invitation to come here anytime, Lord. This is Traci Harrell. It's bigger than me, but together it's not bigger than us. We got this. Thanks.
Thank you.